and from across the water rises rocks great and dark. And on them is a great stone tower, and in this tower a wifeman, young and with child. She is to bring forth a Grendel, a queller of kings, a fire devil. I call this a post-apocalyptic novel set 1,000 years ago. A historical moment which is at the same time very well known and not very well known at all, which is the Norman conquest, the Norman invasion of 1066, which is a date that everybody knows on the school curriculum today. It's the date at which English history is said to begin. But what happens in 1066 after the Norman conquest is this remarkable 10-year campaign of guerrilla resistance to the Norman invasion and to this huge cataclysm, probably the most traumatic event in English history, and it's a very unknown story. The novel is a study of a collapse. It's the study of the collapse of a way of life, it's the study of a collapse of a way of seeing, it's the collapse of a political system, it's also the collapse of the world of the central character. What happens to a certain kind of man when the things that he needs and the things that he values and the society that he's part of are taken away from him? It's really an examination of this remarkable trauma that I think for many of us in England has pretty much been forgotten, even though it still resonates in the world that we live in today. Now, if this bastard is given to live, the fens will be sucked of the sea, and given to the land, given over to man. And the gods of the sedge and the water will die, and the spirit of our folk in these lands will die. The wild will be taken from these fens, and the wild will be taken from in me. For in every man there is the wind and the water, and his work until he is taken is to keep the wild lands from the tamers. The central character in the novel is a man called Buckmaster, and he lives in a small village in the Fens in Lincolnshire. He considers himself to be a powerful man and an important man, considers himself to be a better man than many of the men around him, has an allegiance to the old gods of England, the pre-Christian gods of England, which is something very unusual by the 11th century. And his allegiance to those gods and his allegiance to his status in his village and his sense of what England is, all of that is thrown up into the air by this unexpected invasion and conquest. Sin is upon this green land. Bishops mock the word of God. Earls fuck in the sight of the Christ. Churls drink Ealu and is drunken. There is deep sin all through this land, and thou will be struck down, O England, for what thou hast done. It is a novel in the sense that it's a story with a beginning and a middle and end, and it's got characters in it, but there's something, I hope, about it which is different. And one of the things, obviously, is the language. It's written in its own language. It's supposed to take you to another world, and it's supposed to force you to imagine what it would have been like to live in that world. The language is part of that, and I hope that the storytelling is another part of it. I want it to be an exciting challenge to the reader, that the reader, once they're enmeshed in, can't take themselves out of for quite some time, even after they've finished it. The night was clear. Though I slept, I seen it. Though I slept, I seen the calm. Heard not, only the still. When I gan down to sleep, all was clear in the land, and my dreams was full of stillness. But my dreams did not keep me still. When I woke in the Mergen, all was black, though the night had gone, and all would be black after, and for all time. A great wind had come in the night, and all was blown then, and broke. None had thought a wind like this could come, for all was blithe, living as they always had, and who will hear the gleeman when the tales he tells is black? Who looks at the heaven if it brings him rain? Who looks in the mere when there seems no end to its deepness? None will look, for the wind will come. The wind cares not for the hopes of men. The times after will be for them who seen the coming. The times after will be for the wakened.